who should lose their title at SummerSlam. We're going to find out today. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers and talk about some wrestling.
One nice thing about these big 4 pay-per-views, you always get those title matches. Not really anything throwaway,
Yeah, is there any just rivalry match? I'm not really sure.
Punk Drew.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Freaking duh. Anyway, we're going to go one by one through the list of champions that are having matches. And we're not going to make our predictions on the match. That comes at a different time. This is a should they lose their title. So whether we believe they're going to win or not doesn't matter. It's just a should they lose type thing. We're going to get started with the division that doesn't have a match on the card right now. So we're just going to throw them all into one. If there is a tag team match at SummerSlam, which one of them should lose their title?
The Unholy Union, the women's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haven't really seen them on TV. So let's kick them out of here. Really like the Zoe, Shayna, Sonya trio. And you could have them go up against Jade and Bianca, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I've always been under the impression of like that was just going to be a quick title swap at Clash, and then we were going to find a way to give it back to Bianca and Jade. I personally want that to happen just because I want the idea of a big Jade or a big Bianca heel turn to loom over the division, and I just think that they are such big stars that like those belts belong on them right now. So I'm with you. If any tag team has to lose at SummerSlam, sorry, Unholy Union, you're getting kicked.
Yeah, it does almost feel like you said, a quick swap drop. It kind of feels that way because they just really haven't been on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're just kind of non-existent. Jade and Bianca, those are the stars. I would maybe put it on Shayna and Zoe just because I feel like they need the belts more than Jade and Bianca. Like Jade and Bianca are already stars, right? So they don't need those belts.
Yeah, I get it.
But either way, that's the feud I want to see.
Yeah, I'm down for the Sonya trio, but we'll see. Let's move it on though to the people who actually have matches here. Let's do mid-card titles first. Should Sami Zayn lose his belt at SummerSlam?
Yes. Yes. I don't think there needs to be much more said. I guess this week on Raw kind of gave a preview, I guess you'd say, of what is to possibly happen down the road with him and Jay kind of reuniting. I think maybe that's a tag team that goes after maybe some tag titles or something. I don't know. But it's time for him to drop the belt, move on to something else. And, I mean, admittedly, he's going against Braun. Braun's the future. Braun needs something. Can't have him lose twice. So let's go ahead and just push Sami into the tag scene and do that.
Correct. The point of the mid-card titles is it's supposed to be a boost for the mid-card scene. And lately, we've gotten a 600-day streak from Gunther. We've gotten a 300-day streak from Logan Paul. And now we're from WrestleMania to SummerSlam with Sami Zayn. Let's start dropping these belts and boosting some guys that we need to do. I'm kind of done with the long title reigns of the mid-carders. All right? So it is time for Sami Zayn to drop the belt. He's over as hell. He doesn't need it. He's still going to be over as hell without it.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you mentioned the long title reigns before we go on to the next one. One of the very first videos we recorded, you had said, I'm over the long title reigns. Triple H was like, well, you want to see me do it again?
Yeah,
so
let's do it again.
One thing about Triple H, he loves those long title reigns.
He does. Which is fine every once in a while, but come on. Well, that was unanimous. This next one's going to be interesting. Should Logan Paul lose the United States Championship at SummerSlam?
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you want to attack this. You could look at it from Logan Paul being the global superstar, internet superstar, however you want to describe him. The exposure for WWE, you could say, no, he needs the belt for them to keep getting exposed. The wrestling fan in me, though, yeah, he needs to drop the belt. He hasn't been on TV. I at least want the belt to go to LA because I know LA is going to be there every week.
It's an interesting thing because everything you said is right. Some believe that. But I just said Sami Zayn is so over and so hot that he doesn't need it. And you could easily say that about LA Knight. But it's the opposite with him in terms of he's never been given anything, man. Like on the main card. We thought last year he was going to win Money in the Bank. we thought this year he might win Money in the Bank again. He doesn't have a tag title. Like, he doesn't have these little spurts of getting accolades here and there between. It's time to give this guy some tangible accolades for how over he is. And I mean, he'll take that to the moon. And he's there weekly. So I'm not going to reiterate what you said, but he's going to defend it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have, I think with the Roman reign that we had, like, people, and sometimes even Brock before that with the main card titles, people kind of grown to expect people not showing up. But mid card, like, okay, if you don't have some of the driving force in the main event scene, especially on SmackDown right now, you have to really feature that U.S. title.
Yes.
And that U.S. title has just been non-existent.
Great point. Yeah, that's a phenomenal point. Phenomenal point. But we'll move on to the women. Let's do SmackDown first.
Okay.
Should Miss Bayley lose her women's title at SummerSlam?
I'm going to go with yes on this one, too.
Wow.
A lot of yeses. Big
It's a Daniel Bryan episode.
Big night for SummerSlam and the titles. I think Bayley has become stale, to me at least. I understand people are like, give it time, give it time, give it time. There's just been nothing, whether that's her own doing or feuding or the writing staff just not giving her anything. I feel like when the writing staff has tried to give her something, she's kind of been lackluster, to me at least. Nia, at least, teaming with Tiffany. Now you've got the women's champ and the Money in the Bank holder. Same team, aligned. That could be really interesting. Some really good dynamic stuff. And, I mean, who knows? Maybe Tiffany cashes in, but I hope that's not the route they go.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Bayley, and we do love Bayley, and we have to sit here and say it every week because people think we hate on her too much, but we do love Bayley. I would say you're right. I think her title reign has been pretty stale. But to me, it's not even really about Bayley. It's that at this point, I just like the bigger story of Nia and Tiff. And the bigger story should take the belt if the person holding the belt right now isn't carrying a big story. Like, she's a part of this story, but really we're here for the Nia Tiffany drama, right?
Yeah.
So let's just put the belt on Nia. Let's have Bayley drop it.
Yeah.
And see where that story takes us with legitimate stakes once she has it. So
yeah, and you bring up a really good point in terms of the story not being centered around the title. Like, it was the same thing with Sami Zayn and Gable and Otis.
Yes,
with the IC title.
Good point.
We were a big fan of, hey, I'm not into the Sami right now because I'm so focused on the story. So we were a fan of it dropping then for that.
Yep.
So it's the same thing applies here.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Well, the other one. The woman that we think should main event SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And this has got to be a hard one. Should Liv Morgan drop her title at SummerSlam?
No.
Woo!
I don't even know if it's a hard one.
The no.
Now. We're going no on this one. I think in order to build the story, there's still so much of the story that hasn't been uncovered. If Rhea gets that belt, it just kind of makes the story be like, meh,
Yeah.
Like, Liv took everything, but then in a span of 2 weeks, like, she loses Dom back to Rhea, and then she loses her title too. Like, you got to have something, because if you just have Liv drop the belt, it's kind of like, oh, well, that 3 months was worth nothing. Yeah,
I'm gonna go even further. Not only should she not lose her title, it shouldn't even be a question of her losing the title. Like, what happens if she like the revenge tour just starts again?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that what we're gonna do? Like, she just like round 2.
Yeah, the revenge tour.
The revenge tour, and we just continue it. No, like, she hasn't really had any big time title defenses either, and she is an absolute star. We all know that. Part of the biggest, tied up there with CM Punk Drew storyline on Raw, which in my opinion are the biggest stories in all of wrestling. And she's had one title defense against Zelina, but come on, give her a big title defense that solidifies her as a champion. No need to drop the belt this early.
Yeah, and it'll be really nice to see, because Rhea, I mean, you could put Rhea in the ring with anybody. And she looks fantastic. Yeah. So I guess in terms of if you dive deeper into the match, like, I'm interested to see how Liv has kind of progressed in the ring, because we know she's got the character down. That part's easy for her.
Yeah.
I want to see how good she does in the ring. Like you said, kind of bring that solidify to the belt. And I mean, let's hope that she's gotten better. I mean, it was passable, but it wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait to see Liv wrestle. You know what I mean?
Oh, I feel like she's always been pretty great in the ring.
I would say she's maybe a little bit above average, but there are definitely women that are way better than her.
I mean, she got kicked in the face that one time by Brie Bella. That's pretty above average.
That was what 8 years ago.
That was during Brie Bella. She had like a really off time in the ring there,
all the time.
Like Queen Nikki all the way. Queen
Brie
Nikki
Bella was always off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just
Brie,
sometime.
Brie mode was just like Jesus take the wheel mode, bro. Anyway, we're not going to save the American Nightmare for last. We're going to go now. Should Cody Rhodes lose the title at SummerSlam?
I'm going to go no on this one as well.
Okay.
I think it really kind of, I guess it depends on, we say we're not going to get into our predictions, but it kind of depends on who you think is going to win and all the shenanigans that are probably going to happen. Like, Cody's reign has not been great by any stretch of the imagination, but he's also kind of like Bayley in this sense. Like, the story for the Cody isn't necessarily around the title.
Yeah.
It's like the bloodline stuff, and everybody knows what that bloodline stuff is going to lead to.
Yeah.
So Cody's kind of almost a secondary part to play into something else, which is, I don't like that for the main title.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
But I feel like you can still accomplish all of your goals and have Cody keep the belt, and then you can build something up with Cody.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a really good point there, and some of our viewers have done that too in the comment section of like how they hate to see Cody's reign just be a kind of the staircase to Roman's return, which is weird. Like they need to separate that, and so I am gonna have to agree with you. You don't drop the title here you don't drop the belt off Cody here, because if we are gonna get a solo Roman, let the bloodline story be over there. Like let that take place over there, and let Cody and hopefully the Randy or somebody, hopefully that goes over there, and we can get a true, really decent story rivalry for the Cody Rhodes title reign.
Yeah, and I guess if that does happen, it kind of brings up like, who do you have next for Cody? Because
Gotta be Randy.
Obviously, well, everybody's going to say Randy, but also you think about it, like, I want to see Cody Randy at like a Rumble. Like, I want to see it at a big pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I mean, Survivor Series, yeah, but like, I want to see it at like the Rumble. But that's a long time.
Who is even going to fight at Bad Blood?
Yeah, I don't know. He's obviously going to be there. So
yeah, he's camped out in the parking lot with Metro. They just connected to the stadium Wi-Fi. I mean, come on, they're good. I don't know who you go with. I mean, you know what's going to happen is they're going to somehow keep Cody involved in the bloodline story as is. We're getting on a tangent. This gets into our prediction zone. We got to save that for prediction episode.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could say it helps solidify Solo, but I don't think he needs that. So
yeah.
It doesn't. It would go against everything they say about him being like a fake tough guy. So, but then he just randomly has the belt like that. It just doesn't mesh.
Totally agree. The big one. The big one. Our boy. Our big boy. All rise. Should Damien Priest lose his title at SummerSlam?
Man, this is the one that I am a little back and forth on, because my heart's like, yeah, I mean, Gunther's Gunther, right? Like,
and he's doing really good work.
He's doing really
good work, man.
But I also think, storyline wise, like, we all think Judgment Day is going to implode.
Yeah.
They have kind of hinted at it, but not enough. And Damien's been established pretty well, I would say, as the face, but also I would say it's not enough. Like, it's just almost there, but it's not fully there for me yet. So just for the sense of, I think, Priest and the storylines that are going to come with that, I think it would make sense for him to keep the belt and then go into Bash at Berlin as the champ. And then maybe they run it back again, and maybe Gunther wins it there.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because I don't know what, and I was thinking about this, next PLE, like Bash at Berlin. I mean, that's a good moment you can have there. I don't know what else you would do at Bash at Berlin if that's not what you do.
You know what you do at Bash at Berlin? Finn Balor's, he's foreign. I mean, if we're just making this about, if we're making these PLEs that are in different countries all about the foreigners and stuff like that of the ring, he could technically fill that role. I know it's going to be Gunther because it's freaking Berlin, all right? But the reason I'm going to say no is because I want the Judgment Day collapse to end with a Finn Balor versus Damian Priest title match. I don't want that to just be a feuded match on a pay-per-view. I think the Finn Balor is putting over, or is just the workhorse that we've said 1,000 times. He's doing the best work in years in terms of his WWE career. I mean, come on, give these guys the payoff that this implosion is gonna require.
Yeah, I think that's a really fair point. I also think you think about Priest and promos and things like that. Like, he's had too many promos where he like will jab at Drew back and forth, or he tells Rollins like, "Hey, this whenever you want to come get this, like you can still challenge for this."
Yeah.
Like, they've had too many hints for me to be like, "Oh, Priest is just going to drop it at SummerSlam," unless they just go off the path.
But don't get me wrong, a teeny tiny bit of me wants to see a Gunther title reign right away. So a little bit of me is going to be like, yes.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point actually that you bring up about a Gunther title reign. Like,
oh, dude,
it's one of those guys that, don't get me wrong, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. We love Gunther. I know some people don't. But how long do you have him have that belt for, and who takes that belt off of him?
It'll be a long title reign.
So we talk about long title reigns and how we're like, yes, we enjoy long title reigns, but you need some variance.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to just go from Damien having the belt for 4 months-ish to Gunther having the belt for
a year,
8 months-ish, or whatever the case may be.
I get it.
So I think maybe, at least with the Judgment Day, you could somehow Priest drops the Finn, maybe Finn and him rematch. That happen. You know, there's ways you could at least get some short title reigns in there.
Oh yeah,
because, and I think maybe people might have fatigue if you put the belt on Gunther for like already. Like, he already had the Intercontinental for 2 years. He loses.
And mind you, he hasn't been on TV very much lately.
Yeah, he loses once King of the Ring goes away for like a little bit, but then he just comes back and he's just in another long reign. I feel like that's probably it.
It's that same sort of feeling that we had about Seth Rollins returning and just immediately getting the title scene, which I know Gunther won King of the Ring and deserved it, but then he was off TV for an extended amount of time, okay? So there was a little bit of that same thing. I'm going to throw in one last question that you didn't know about.
That's okay.
If you could choose one champion to lose at SummerSlam, who are you choosing?
Oh, like I'm choosing one.
Yeah, you get one. This is guaranteed. This is who you want to lose at SummerSlam.
Who I want to lose at SummerSlam? Logan Paul.
Really? That's surprising.
Logan Paul.
That's surprising.
Just because yeah. Now that you say that, I'm like, yeah. Somebody else I probably should have picked, maybe. But I'm going to go Logan Paul. Just for the sense that U.S. title, like, I don't know. I think about the U.S. title and I think about like Cena, right? I think about those open challenges that we talked about before and all the greats that have had that U.S. title before. But it's like that used to mean something, that title. And now it's just not on TV.
Yeah, totally.
So I would at least like for it to be back on TV. So that's why I would go with Logan Paul, even though it's in his hometown, I guess, technically, which makes it a little like, are they going to do this or not? But I think they do.
Yeah, that's very surprising. I mean, you're 100% right with everything you just said. He needs to show up to work. He's not doing it. That belt needs prestige, and LA Knight will do it. But I mean, if I got to choose one, it's Sami Zayn. Get the belt off Sami Zayn, bro. Get him out of my ring, yelling about how he's Intercontinental Champion every single week. Let him go do some other stuff away from the belt. That would probably bring me back toward, warmer water with him, just because he would have to cut a different promo.
Well, as soon as he drops that belt, him and Jay are going to win those tag titles off Judgment
That'll
Day.
be fun.
And
that'll be fun. I don't care.
Then I don't know what you do after that, but that's what's going to happen, I feel like.
Him dancing to his song and Jay eating, whatever. All right, though. Those were our picks on who should lose their title at SummerSlam. Let us know in the comments what you think or who you think should lose at SummerSlam. We will have our predictions early next week, Monday of SummerSlam week. So be ready for that video. Follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at, Spotify, Apple, etc. And share us with whoever you think might like this type of wrestling content. Till next time, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.